Think about the last time you were happy. You were really happy. You might have had maybe a visitor, a friend from school, maybe a long lost friend, or someone who you hadn't seen for a while. Perhaps maybe it was your birthday recently, and you got given a gift, and that made you really happy. Maybe someone announced, perhaps it was your daughter announced that she was pregnant, and now you're going to become a grandmother or a grandfather. Perhaps that made you happy. Or maybe, just maybe, someone in the family was diagnosed with something and you thought it was terminal. But somehow they managed to get treatment and now they are healed and the reports have come back saying negative. Each of these moments were moments that you felt happy, right? In each of these moments you experienced happiness. So was it the moment that gave you happiness then? This is the question we have to ask ourselves now. See, if there are things in life that makes you happy, shouldn't it make everybody happy? Any cricket fans? It's a silly question, isn't it? In a room full of Asians, Sri Lankans, is a silly question to be asking. Cricket fans. When you watch a game of cricket, remember the 96 World Cup? I remember watching it. I was on the edge of my seat. I remember watching it. A few balls left and we had a few more runs. We needed to win the game. A few balls later, maybe an over later, as the game came to a close, right? And they won the last run. With the last run, they won Sri Lanka won the game. In your home, there was a celebration. Yeah? But in the homes, maybe 1,000 kilometers from us, in a faraway land called Pakistan. We played against them, didn't we? 96? Yes. Pakistan, right? Sorry? Australia, yes. I beg your pardon. In Australia, in a land called Australia, people were not celebrating. How is it that the same event can make one happy and the other unhappy? If it is the event that makes someone happy, then one event, the same event, should make everyone happy. But that is not so, is it? Now you'll have an answer, a superficial answer. You'll say it's because, Sri Lanka is our country, so we must be happy when Sri Lanka wins. The Australians would have been happy if they won. Surely, Swaminathan, that makes sense. My point is this. It is not the victory that makes one happy. It's what you want. If when what happens is what you want, or if what happens is what you want, then you are happy. But if what happens is what you don't want, then you're unhappy. So if you are someone who has wants, I'm not talking about needs, there's a difference between the two. There's a difference between wants and needs. Needs are the things that we need to sustain ourselves, right? We need oxygen to breathe. We don't want oxygen, we need oxygen. We don't want food, we need food, right? We need clothes, we need medicines. These are the 4 requisites. We need these things. But the things that we want are things that the mind wants. Now, if you had a friend, for instance, maybe say a friend from another country who was watching the game with you on that day, he or she would have also enjoyed that moment when Sri Lanka won because he or she was your friend. And he or she wanted you to be happy, so therefore when you were happy, they were happy. In each of these instances, ladies and gentlemen, where there's a wanting, there seems to be happiness. Yeah, if you want something and you get what you want, you're happy. Would you all agree with me on that? When you get what you want, you're happy. What is the risk with this? Do you not see a risk here? If you're only happy when you get what you want, what's the risk? What happens when you get what you don't want? Or when you don't get what you want? Then you are unhappy. You're disappointed. If your child fails an exam, that's not something you want, so you're unhappy. If your crush, when you ask a question, says no, if you get a rejection, you're unhappy. If you apply for, well, say you've applied for a visa to go to another country, or you applied for a job, and they come back to you with a rejection. So I want you to live these experiences, because we've all lived long enough to have had some of these experiences in our lives. So think back to the time when it happened. Maybe you wanted to buy a property, right? And you had your mind set on it. You had a price going for it. It was all discussed. But in the last moment, they said, sorry, you can't have it. Another buyer has come and taken it up. Never happened to you? How did you feel in that moment? Disappointed. Why? Because there was something you wanted and it didn't materialize. So don't you feel that this is like walking a tightrope? We have all put ourselves into a position where we are vulnerable. If things go to plan, if things go the way we want, we are happy. But when things don't go the way we want, we are unhappy. In other words, would you not agree then that you have allowed events that happen in and around you to decide whether you're happy or unhappy? So then who gets to decide whether you're going to be happy tomorrow? Well, we've only just started today, so I'll ask you about today. Right? Who decides whether you're going to be happy today? Can you? Can you really? Don't you feel somehow that you have no control over your happiness? Is that okay? I mean, are you all right with that? If you are, then I haven't got much more to say. If you are happy about the fact that someone can control your happiness, if you're happy about that, if you're okay with that, then we don't have much else to talk about. I personally was not happy about that.